We're about to settle down and watch some compelling action this afternoon between still two officially the best players in the world. The world number one, John Higgins, but not for much longer, and the man who's about to replace him, the current world number two, Mark Williams. What a cracking opening session they produced last night.
Such a fascinating matchup, isn't it, between these two great players?
Tossing a coin for this first frame in a minute. He missed it, he sticks it.
Very poorly played that was. For the opening frame. It's there.
14 in the first frame from Mark Williams.
Excellent pot.
135.
He's all square at 1-all.
On the checker.
There's another fantastic pot.
Could be a frame winner. Where's the red going? That's where the red's going.
So John Higgins wins the fifth frame.
It really is a wonderful break over John Higgins.
Mark Williams going to sit there and admire another century break from Higgins, and he levels at 3-all. So Mark Williams once again takes a lead.
Oh, that's a fantastic pot.
It's Mark Williams who takes the last frame of the night, and he goes into tomorrow with a 5-3 overnight lead.
So 8 more frames to complete today, and I believe they are all set, rearing and ready to go inside the Crucible Theatre. So it is time to cue our MC, Rob Walker.
Thanks, Hazel. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's a particularly patriotic crowd here in Sheffield for the second session of this semi-final between two great champions, once again lining up for a place in the final of this year's Betfred.com World Snooker Championship. Please welcome, first of all, a player who's come right back to his very best form. This is his first semi-final since 2003 here, the year he went on to claim his second world title. Winner of 18 ranking event crowns in all, including this season's German Masters, he is the most laid-back guy in the game. Here comes the Welsh potting machine, Mark J. Williams. And his opponent, one of the finest sportsmen Scotland has ever produced. It's 13 years since his first Crucible semi-final, and here he is, still going strong. A brilliant comeback against Ronnie O'Sullivan in his quarter-final. 3 times he's climbed the mountain here. He's the reigning UK champion. He's the reigning Welsh Open champion. He's the Wizard of Wishaw, John Higgins.
Oh, poor old Rob's losing his voice. It's been a long championship, hasn't it? Time to start gargling with the old TCP, Rob, I think. Now, both of these men have stayed the Crucible course before, as indeed has our commentary team today. Both champions of the world, Stephen Hendry, Dennis Taylor. Stephen, as we know, still harbouring ambitions to get back on this stage again and very soon. Good afternoon to you both.
Very good afternoon, Hazel. Good afternoon to everyone watching at home. Let's just get well, it's a great pleasure to be sitting next to the 7 times former world snooker champion, and looking forward to this session, Stephen.
Yeah, absolutely. 2 best players in the world at the minute.
Well, what a start from Mark Williams to drop this red in dead weight and leave himself on the black. What a start. And when you think that John Higgins made a couple of century breaks, Stephen, 135 and 120, and he's 5-3 down.
Nine.
It's one of Mark's obviously greatest attributes is that he won't pay any attention to what the other guy's doing. He'll just go about his business. He looks really under pressure, Mark, today, doesn't he?
He looked under pressure up in the Champions Lounge. He was up there. You wouldn't have thought he was playing at his club championship, never mind the semi-final of the Betfred.com World Championship. Just the one loose red to go at now, and I'm just wondering if the pink goes in the left corner and
14.
It's not on its spot, it might release that red to the right of the pink.
$15.
Because if he leaves the white with the pink as he'd be on that red if the pink spot's occupied, because it'll have to go behind the reds. I'm not sure if, well, it's a bit tight.
He's going to leave the white high on this red. So in potting the red, he's going to be able to screw into the reds and release some reds from the pack and hopefully screw up for the blue. But if not, he'll play it harder rather than softer, so at least he's going to be in a bulk colour if he doesn't venture on the blue.
Yeah, it has to go in a direct line behind the spot, in line with the black spot.
Thank you. 21.
How well did he get into that, Stephen? He was hoping
22.
to finish somewhere near the blue, or certainly a bulk colour.
Yeah, you're never absolutely certain how the white's going to react when it hits the reds, but Mark was telling me last night it's one of the best tables he's ever played on in terms of reaction. They're getting off the cloth, so you're really going to that one. But just gets down and drops the yellow on as if it was the easiest shot in the world.
24. 25.
I think it makes a big difference, Stephen, changing the cloths every 4 days and changing the cushions.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference. Well, one of the things it makes, potting reds along the cushions a lot easier because the cloth, the balls tend to grip the cloth a bit easier when it's a new cloth. But there's no better place to play snooker, one table at the Crucible. I must admit, I'm very envious of these guys.
32.
Yeah, I think you might be back at a one-table situation at the Crucible. Now that you haven't retired, that's the best news. And Rob Walker mentioned to the crowd before we come on air, and Stephen got a great cheer from the Crucible audience when they were told he wasn't going to retire. Mind you, watching these boys play and knocking breaks, I don't blame you, Stephen, for thinking about retiring.
But I don't know whether that's best or whether it was when I was unpopular when I was winning.
wrong angle on the pink. He's looking at the more difficult blue. The pink's an easy pot. He's just got to negotiate the green and brown. I mean, to take the blue on and screw back for that red just to the left of the bunch would be a risky one. So can he find the path here? No, didn't quite work out. That's the end of break.
39.
That's why he was thinking about taking the difficult blue. He was guaranteed position and just got a little bit too much side on it. He was going to cannon those 3 reds full on. He would have opened the lot up.
Mark Williams, 39.
A little bit careless with a safety shot. One thing when you're playing John Higgins, your safety has to be absolutely pinpoint perfect. Because if you don't put him on the baulk cushion, you can sure bet he'll put you on the baulk cushion. If it didn't hit the green, it would have been on the baulk cushion. He's left mark a shot to nothing here. Pot this red in the right corner. Be screwing the white off the top cushion, the side cushion, around the angles.
Well, for a moment I thought he might be able to pop the pink in the middle pocket, but the black is cannoned the red out and it won't go. You can see enough of the pink to take it on, but just watch what happened here. He cannoned the black. The black's gone over, just flicked the red out and covered the pocket.
Yeah, it was a good job he got the pot there, Dennis. Because the white was obviously cannoning into the reds.
That was a little premature look at the scoreboard. He was just checking to see how many he was in front, but he's got quite a few to pot. He might even think about flicking the pink safe, and that 40-point advantage would be very difficult to eradicate. But that's exactly what he's
Mark Williams,
done.
1.
But unlucky to catch the middle pocket, but it's the sort of thing that can happen.
Yeah, John played to hit the red on the way up. He missed the contact and got the cushion first. Obviously John hasn't quite settled yet this afternoon, hasn't had a chance in the balls, but made 1 or 2 uncharacteristic errors.
6.
He's got an angle to get on the blue, just off the cushion and back over behind the blue, or I'll just screw it up there.
7.
Finished the wrong side of it, but it shouldn't be a problem for Mark. Just means he's got a lot further to travel, unless he's going to leave a longish pot. Maybe he's a little bit too straight to force it around the angles, and of course the green's in a bad position to come off a couple of cushions. That's what he's looking at. You can see the wrong side, but he may just drop it in and leave a longish red.
Twelve. $13.
He looks to be cueing beautifully, Stephen, when you knock that type of red in like that.
Yeah, because he was consciously not going to overscrew that white, because the last thing he wants to do is take the pink or black off the cushion, so he hit that one perfectly. And I always think these long matches, it's about winning each session. In a 4-session match, you've got 4 little matches that you want to win. Let's say Mark won the first one last night.
19.
And he knows if he wins every session, he wins the semi-final. Even if he wins the first 3 sessions, he can afford to maybe lose the last session, still win the match.
Yeah, if you can open up a 3-frame advantage, then you start thinking to yourself, well, listen, if I just keep sharing the frames, I'm going to get through to the final. It doesn't always work out like that. The frame's safe now for the Welshman.
25.
I think John will probably stay in his seat here, even if Mark was to break down, but the way he's queuing, there won't be many balls left on the table.
27. $28.
Take some shot to drop on one of these difficult reds. He's tried a very ambitious thin snick because he wasn't really bothered about it.
Mark Williams.
John Higgins just signals to Eirian Williams, that's enough of this frame. John Higgins didn't have a shot at the ball. Mark Williams looks in fine form, extends his lead. It's 6-3. Some very impressive stats there.
Thank you. The 10th frame. Mark Williams to break.
But another impressive stat as Mark Williams breaks off. Mark Williams got to be world champion and world #1 in 7 seasons, which is quite an achievement. He's just talking to one of his mates there. John Higgins, who's coming to the table, got to be world champion and world #1 in 6 seasons. And the gentleman sitting next to me in the commentary box got to be world champion and world #1 in 5 seasons. 3 quite remarkable records, that. Of course, a lot of that, John Higgins getting to world #1 in 6 seasons, he practiced for the first 4 or 5 years every day with you, Stephen.
Yeah, used to play a lot with John in the club in Stirling. Also likes of Stephen Maguire. I remember in those days we had 4 or 5 professionals in the club at that stage. We had Elaine Robidoux, Fergal O'Brien, Billy Snadden. So it was a great time to play in the club, plenty of match practice.
Yeah, I remember going up when I was still playing and spending a week there practicing before the World Championship. Everything was going great. I came back and took a lump out of my tip the day before I came to Sheffield, and I think I lost my first match. So that was the end of my practice in Stirling. Just too far. He's left this one for John. Needs a delicate little shot here. He could hold for the pink. The pink will go in the middle pocket. If he plays a little delicate shot with a touch of drag, he could leave it on the pink. If he could leave it in the circle, he could finish on the pink. Otherwise, he's going to have to go up for the blue. Let's see how he plays it. No use taking the black because it would tie the black up because of the red to the left of the spot. Just striking the cue ball near the bottom than the middle. He's looked at the black, so maybe he's not the right angle on the pink, but it will tie the black up somewhat.
He's had the black cleaned, which makes me think he's going to take it. Don't know if the red to the left of the black spot. Pot's in the left corner. He's got an angle to chip it away here if he likes. He's played for the red into the right centre. Not quite. He could have another 2 or 3 inches.
8.
I think he'll be okay if he can negotiate this red and get a nice position of colour, because the red next to the black does pot into the left corner.
He could even play this red into the green pocket and hold for the pink. He certainly wouldn't be leaving anything on if he missed it.
Nine.
It's not straightforward to get onto the next red. I don't know if he's got a slight angle on this pink. He has a little bit. That was well played. He can pot this. The black will go, and then the red next to the black, and suddenly it's starting to open up. Now the pink gonna have to go in behind the reds there. This is a bit of a tricky situation for referee Eirian Williams. He's got to get it as close, but it's got to be in a straight line. He'll get it in the straight line first, and then well, it finished up. Now then, that has blocked the red that John Higgins has played for. That's the last thing that John thought was going to happen. He thought there was enough room in between the reds there. It's end of break by the looks of it.
$15.
Well, is there a gap through to the one next to the black? Oh, that'll be a bonus. He played for the one near the pink. Oh, that was badly hit. It would go. I don't know whether that just took his concentration off, because he didn't anticipate the pink going there, did he, Steve?
No, I think when he put the first red into the green pocket, he planned to be on the pink. To get on the red, he that was eventually blocked by the pink. So, sometimes your whole thought processes are being mixed up, and your concentration is not in the ball you eventually play. That was a bad shot by Mark to miss that thin, because that's where the red was going to go. If you're going to miss that shot, you just try and miss it in the thick side.
One.
He's got an angle to go into the pack here if he wants. There's one loose red just underneath the pink. It's quite a tough shot to get close to that red, because there's a fair distance between the white and the blue. So I think the percentage shot here is to go into the reds. I think it's the easiest positional shot to play. He plays this shot as good as anybody.
Well, he played it well. And he deserves to be on a red, because when he got the double kiss there, it looked as if he was going to finish on absolutely nothing here.
6.
Okay, he didn't catch it full on, but he still played it well. But them series of little kisses almost put him out of position, but there's one available for him into the right corner. And I'm not sure if he can find an angle to get across the table for the blue. Might be able to. Well, he would have done if he had missed that red.
7.
And I don't think he can see enough of the black. He did play for the blue there. It's very tight. He's having a long, hard look as we show you the red just catching, or the white just catching the other red there. Wow, this is a tight black there. There's a little bit sticking out. Going to have to find that ball cushion and get the white pretty close to it. He's back looking at the black again, but he knows if he takes that on and he overcuts it, Mark Williams would have a great chance with the ball sitting like that.
Brumbo.
Do you think Judd Trump would have taken the
Higgins,
blue on
sir.
there, Dennis?
He'd take anything on Judd, wouldn't he? I mean, that first session against Ding, Judd Trump potted balls from places I've never seen them potted from before.
These two players obviously highly experienced. They'll respect others' games very highly, so they won't be taking any risks.
Well, the old dreaded double kiss has given John Higgins a great chance now to compile a sizable break here.
Yeah, Mark played this red, not thinking that it was going to be the only red he was going to leave, but unfortunately missed it by so far that he got the double kiss you talked about, Dennis. And this is now John's, is it third decent chance in this frame? The difference here, pink and black both open, and red's everywhere. You would expect him to win the frame from here.
Seven.
Just could do with the black back on its spot just to make it much easier.
8.
Well, he's finished straight on the blue. Needs a little bit of an angle. Looks to be straight. Let's have a look. That's the player's view, and he's absolutely straight. But the next pot will clear the black. He's going to take the red next to the black.
13.
There's a delicate little shot if he's going to try and hold on the black here. He'd have to play it perfectly. And he's stretching. I thought he'd missed that.
14.
Any more pace, that could have wobbled in the jaws. Fully stretched there, and once it went on the near jaw, thought he'd missed it.
$21. 22.
I've always thought it's strange that John Higgins is a right-handed player but puts his chalk in his left pocket with his left hand, Dennis.
Yeah, it's a funny little mannerism that. Ray Reardon used to do that. Yeah, he didn't keep his chalk in his right pocket. He used to
29.
take it out and switch over. I think Ray
30.
said he did that because when you're leaning on the table, you could catch the chalk. You know, you'd feel the chalk sort of pushing into you.
This is almost like a practice setup now, the way the Reds are. Every player's done this millions of times. Series of stuns, screws.
38.
Yeah, it looks so easy, doesn't it? But it's like watching the top golfers. It's so
45.
difficult. But the top professionals make it look so easy. But these delicate little screw and stun shots that Stephen were talking about, you know, they take years to perfect.
46.
You know, you're working to fractions all the time. The frame completely safe now for John Higgins. So that double kiss that Mark Williams had has
52.
cost him this second frame.
53. $60. 61.
We've had 61 centuries here this year in the Betfred.com World Championship, chasing that
66.
record number of 83 that were made last year. John Higgins has made 7
67.
so far. In fact, it was 2 years ago when we had 83 century breaks, which is a
74.
record. And the gentleman sitting next to me has
75.
made quite a few of those. Still holds the record, Stephen Hendry, 740 odd centuries in his career. Ronnie O'Sullivan about 140, 150 centuries behind, and the third greatest break builder of all time
82.
is just trying to make a century here, which is not going to happen unless he pulls off a spectacular pot and position here. There's the pot.
84.
But he needs another one. No century,
54 on
but
the
he
frame.
won't be too concerned
John
about
Higgins.
that. One mistake and a little bit of bad luck with the double kiss cost Mark Williams. John Higgins cleared up with that break of 84. He's back to just 2 behind, 6-4.
It's early days yet, but Stephen, John, what can you gauge about John Higgins' form this afternoon?
Well, I didn't think there was much wrong with his form yesterday, to be perfectly honest with you. Mark Williams played some great match play, potted some fantastic long balls yesterday. But you can tell there already, when he went 6-3, lost the first frame, you could sense there was danger coming there in the scoreline, and he stepped it up, went through the gearbox and made a great 80 break. And, you know, you don't want to be getting too far behind to Mark Williams the way he's playing.
Indeed, yeah. From Mark's perspective, he continues to be in float mode, shall we say. Float mode is something that John Parrott has christened over the last few days. But I think it seemed a rather apt description of the way he seems to operate.
Yes, it's no fuss about Mark Williams, but even though he plays some breathtaking shots, he still doesn't make them look breathtaking. A different style of player, and quietly assassinated a few players in this tournament so far. And also, whilst sort of John Higgins looked on the verge there of making his 3rd century break of the match, it would have meant he was still 6-4 behind. Mark Williams wins many frames that no century breaks are made. So his strike rate and a lot of those frames are very important, I think, when you come up to add up all of those frames in the tournament.
I think it's worth mentioning as well that Mark Williams is about to inherit the #1 player in the world mantle officially. he will overtake John Higgins at the end of this championship. And you know, and a man of 36 years of age, can you just underline how impressive that achievement is, John?
It's a huge achievement, but particularly for someone who dropped out the 32 and was qualifying a few years ago. I mean, he had no game, lost his confidence, went from being someone who held all 4 BBC events at one time back into that and qualifying, and to come back from that and to be where he is now is a truly remarkable performance.
And interestingly, whilst he didn't have any confidence, it didn't seem to affect him too much. He sort of went, I've got no confidence, and that was the end of it. And then he said, well, I'll get it back somewhere down the line. He didn't make a big deal out of it, and he just got down, knuckled down on the practice table, turned it all around.
It is incredible, because this is the third time that he will achieve the #1 ranking in the sport. And as I say, for a man past 35 years of age, he's now the oldest fella left in the championship. And he certainly doesn't behave like the oldest fella left in the championship, but I think that's very much to his credit. He's young at heart, is our Mark Williams.
Yeah, he certainly is that, Hazel. He's a real wind-up merchant, is Mark Williams. A lot of fun to be around. Mark Williams special there. Cued that beautifully. This is a tricky black though he's faced with here.
I'm just going to say that, Dennis, the black is almost as difficult as the long pot, because he had to drop it in dead weight. A little bit unfortunate not to be a red easier, but he'll still try and cut this red in.
He just floated that red in, as he does with so many shots. You'll hear John and Steve in the studio talking to Hazel about floating balls in. Mark's one of the greatest floaters we've ever had in the game, Steve.
I always say to him, if he's got a black ball to win the frame or in the match, he'll drop the black in dead weight. And I was thinking, what if you get a kick? But it's just the way he plays it. He just loves to drop balls in all the time. Had the chance to play a long blue there to get closer to the reds, but
12.
We've seen his long pottings is fine in this match today. Stun this off the cushion for the black.
13.
It's another cracking long pot. %. He's sitting at with his long pot success rate.
2 seconds, please, Mark.
So that means he's potted 14 long balls out of 20. That's a pretty high percentage, really.
Okay, thank you. 19.
Obviously the pink pots. In a couple of shots time, the pink's still going to be there. It's going to be a great colour to split the reds from if he gets an angle on it. Maybe looking to... Yeah, he might even do it off the black here, but if he gets low in that pink, it's easy to split the pack.
Might possibly be able to do that. It's an easier shot just to drop on the black, but yeah, the shot you suggested there, Stephen, it just shows you how you would be thinking. You'd be potting this, leaving
26.
an angle on the pink and then splitting the bunch up.
27.
He's gone for the black, but I think your choice was a pretty good one. He's got a couple of reds to play for here before he goes into the bunch. Of course, he could still get himself into that position that you mentioned. Might not be able to do it here. He'll have to go for the blue by the
34.
looks of it. Well, he could run through,
35.
and he has the angle on the pink now. But He's looking at the black still.
Be looking to finish as straight as possible on this red, so then he can put the white where he wants. I think he's got the idea. Just drop this red in dead weight. He'll leave himself a nice angle in the pink.
.43.
It just shows you how different players think. I mean, Stephen would have played on the pink earlier. Mark has bided his time and now he's perfectly on the pink. I don't think he's on anything. I'm not sure if one passes the pink for the middle. Rather than stun into it, he just stroked it in here.
49.
Well, maybe there is a gap, and that's a bonus. And there's that gap.
50.
When you're playing well, those sorts of things happen, Stephen, don't you? You just seem to fall into position every time.
Yeah, and that was the beauty of splitting the pack from the pink rather than the black. He didn't have to hit that pink, you know, half as hard as he would have to hit the black if he was going to split the pack. So the red's open nicely.
57.
Finished a little bit short. This positional shot is not quite so straightforward. I think he played for the bottom red of those two into the right corner. So he can still play that red, but he's going to have to go up for the blue, but he's going to have to avoid some kisses. Red in the middle, maybe stun through the gap. Or stun to the cushion.
58.
If I name 2 or 3 shots, he's bound to get one of them, Dennis, isn't he?
Well, it's great to have you in the commentary box, Stephen, and it's the second best. Nothing beats being out there playing, but it's a good second best to be able to sit here and commentate on the greatest players that's ever played the game.
.65. 66.
And this is a great reply. John obviously won the last frame in one visit. Mark's just showing John that he's still there, going strong, winning the frame in one visit. Got 2 boxers out there now, punch for punch.
73. .74. .81.
Chance to make the highest break of the tournament so far. There hasn't been a 140 yet in this tournament. 4 reds, 4 blacks for a 140 exactly.
82.
I knew you would have worked that out, Stephen. You're always after getting an extra few quid at the tournament. There's £10,000 for the highest break here this year.
And this must be the longest we've gone in a good few years without having a 140 plus break.
And of course, our sponsors have offered £20,000 for the player that makes the highest break to donate to his favourite charity. So, yeah, there's 30 grand at stake here if he could beat that 138 that Mark King holds.
90.
I'm sure Mark King's wishing Mark Williams all the best here. Dennis, what do you think?
Yeah, I think Mark will be looking for a kick
97.
in the next few shots.
Usually Mark Williams is not too bothered about making centuries. You normally see him winning a frame, making 70 or 80 and then playing exhibition shots, but he'll know exactly what the highest break is.
Well, that's a fabulous century break from Mark Williams, the 62nd century this year here at the Crucible.
106.
He's already made 7 centuries now in this year's World Championship.
113.
Sure, the extra £10,000 will come in handy. He's getting married in the summer, Dennis.
To his partner Joe, a delightful lady.
115 on the frame.
That's how much he wanted the extra 10,000, but what a beautiful break that was from Mark Williams. 115, and he just missed out on the high break there. Well, he took a swipe at mid-air there. He was so disappointed. He really wanted to beat the highest break, but he got in there with a fabulous long pot. He is so good at this type of shot, and just watch how he plays this. It's like we're going to show you what he's faced with. It's just slightly off straight there, so he's having to play it with a little touch of stun and follow through, and just striking the white in the middle. And he played this beautifully. It was just a delicate, a little punch shot with it's like a stun run through, and he played it beautifully. And the black was good as well, Stephen.
The black was a fantastic shot. I was just wondering when he swung his cue at the end there, the amount of times he's almost taken my head off in practice doing that.
Yeah, he would never normally miss a green like that, but here we go. There's that swipe. Yeah, you wouldn't want to be on the end of that one.
You couldn't do that when there was a two-table situation.
Here, frame 12. Mark Williams to break.
Mid-session interval coming up after this frame. And John Higgins would like to take it, to have shared the little mini session and be just 2 behind, because at this stage in a semi-final, Stephen, if a player can open up a 4-frame advantage, it takes a bit of pulling back, doesn't it?
Absolutely, Mark. If I was in Mark's position, I'd be thinking, if possible, try and get the biggest lead I can going into the next session. Because then, as you said earlier, all you need to do from then on is share the sessions. You don't have to take any risks. Just let your opponent take the risks.
Chance to knock another longish pot in.
One.
And once again played with the stun run through, and he played it beautifully. Little cannon into that, and he's played it with pace. He screwed it back. Good shot. He got the cannon perfectly.
8.
Yeah, these are worrying times for John. Mark's potting every long ball that he leaves him, and now he's scoring heavily as well. So lethal combination.
Okay. Both, Mark.
I think he got a kick, but luckily this time there's a red over the left corner pocket up by the balk colours. Let's have a look at this. Yeah, the black jumped off its spot
16.
there and took all the pace and screw out of the shot.
It's amazing, you always seem to get bad contacts when you finish that slightly off angle in the black, when you have to screw back, where you're screwing back there with right hand side, so the white hits the cushion and goes up towards the red. You always seem to get a bad contact with that shot. That was
17.
controlled. They got a lot of drag to kill the pace of the cue ball. Perfect on the blue. Just drop this in for the red to the right of the pack.
$22. 23. 30. 31.
Left himself a tricky black, but he's cueing so well. And this is how he played in the UK final against John Higgins. He led 9-5 and was playing beautifully, but John Higgins made one of the best comebacks I've ever seen to come back and beat Mark on a deciding frame. That was some win for John. But Mark's in control at the moment here.
39.
I think both reds to the right above the pack go into the left centre, so it depends. The shot is to follow through of two cushions, but the red and the black cushion might be stopping that shot, so I think as a red goes into the right centre. He's got the cue ball on a string at the minute though, Dennis.
46.
Yeah, another delicate little stun shot will take him onto the black again. A little screw back.
47.
Very impressive stuff. Now this is the key shot to taking the frame now. He's going to
54.
cannon the other reds when he pots this.
55.
Played beautifully. So one mistake and the frame's over. At present, that's the standard we're watching here. John Higgins is only going to take the one frame, and he had to do that with a break of 84. I'll show you that little drag shot he played to get in there to hold for the blue. That's Hawkeye. I'll show you where he's striking it. The drag, you hit it down there with a little touch aside and it kills all the pace. And then you finish up. It just kills the pace of the white. That was played beautifully. It really was.
He's
62.
underhit that shot by a good foot there. Played to the red, to the right, the pink into the right corner. So it's the first careless shot he played in a couple of frames.
Mark Williams, 62.
Well, he didn't kill the frame off, but it's a pretty good effort, that 62. There's a couple of pots he could have a go at here. One to the right of the pinks, his choice. Now where's the cue ball? This time it's his turn to catch the middle pocket, and if he can get past the pink to pot the red, this is a good chance for John Higgins to get back into this frame. So this is far from over now. So that one positional shot, Stephen mentioned that Mark was about a foot short of position. It might be costly.
One.
Oh, he's let that go. He's going to have to take the blue up into the corner. He played for it in the middle pocket. It shouldn't be a problem though. But you know, you like to keep close control.
I think if I was to pick any player to make a break from 60 behind, it'd be one of these two guys, especially John Higgins. He's phenomenal at winning frames from 50 and 60 behind.
7.
Well, clearly you can see the problem's going to be the red up next to the yellow. playing for a choice of red. Sometimes when you've got the balls like this, you're leaving yourself
14.
options. You play for one. If you over screw it, you've got the other.
$15.
Yeah, even in the best of 33, you can always pick a frame out that can be a turning point in a match, and this possibly could be
21.
one of those frames.
$22.
And looking at that last red you're talking about, Dennis, obviously there's been no problem with these two reds, but the red next to the yellow is the problem. Obviously it doesn't pot to the green pocket because John played the safety earlier to avoid that, so possibly would like to play off the blue or the green off the final red before he goes up to that, because that would be the easiest way to get position on the last red to the yellow pocket.
$29.
Yeah, just thinking about that red, John will be already thinking a few shots ahead. He'd have to finish up leaving the white, or I've got the other white. That red would be available into the left corner, but you know, that's a few shots down the line, but that's the only way he can get onto it. What do you think, Stephen? Any value potting the red, getting on the blue, and maybe just cannoning into the yellow?
It's an option. Obviously, if he misses the cannon, then you know it's putting all your eggs in one basket. I think he'll play to. Well, he's got quite a big angle on the blue now. He might possibly play your shot, Dennis.
Well, that's his choice: the cannon or where I had the white up previously. And he's played into the gap. Doesn't want to be hampered, and that's not bad. It's gone a little bit further than he intended.
42.
Yeah, the problem with playing the cannon was if it went wrong, he'd have no pots. I think he was playing that he'd have a bigger area to leave himself a pot in the red.
Well, this is a big shot. If it goes in, he's got a chance of the frame. And at that pace, they're so difficult, these pockets, Stephen.
Yeah, he had to play it at pace because he needed angle in the colour to get back on the yellow, so he couldn't afford to just drop it in.
Well, that was a bit careless from Mark, because John can cut this red in. He'd finish on pink or black, and the blue's off its spot, so he'll be hoping the yellow does come to his rescue, but the yellow is potable. It's just off that ball cushion slightly. Rather than using the rest, he's got his extension, and there's a lot of cue between the bridge hand and the cue ball there. But this isn't an easy red, a red that would, what's he, 20 points in front, so he's going to need that difficult yellow if he pots this, because he can only get on green or brown.
It's one of these situations where the safety shot is as hard as the pot, so I think he'll go for it.
Well, we've seen him float the balls, and I thought he was going to play that. Surprising that he hit that so hard.
Yeah, it's the first long ball he's played, as you said, that he's actually hit a bit hard. I thought he would just need to drop that in off two cushions, perhaps get the green in the middle, but he chose to play it with more power, perhaps in the hope that he'd get it safe if he missed it.
One.
John will play this black off both side cushions to drop behind the yellow into the green pocket.
Be nice if we could get it somewhere in the middle of that circle. It'd be perfect, wouldn't it? Doesn't want to be dead straight on the yellow. doesn't want to be dead straight, and I think he has finished. He was just a fraction off being perfectly on it there.
Yeah, he's going to have to try and force this a little bit off 2 cushions to get an angle to get on the green into the left centre. Oh, that's a clever shot. It was very straight, so
10.
used the jaws of the pocket to create the angle to get on the green.
Well, he's still got
13.
quite a bit to do, but what a frame to pinch this would be. And as Stephen said, if anybody could do it, it would be John Higgins. He's got into it a bit too much. He'll be able to play the snooker though. But, well, I say he'll be able to play the snooker. Even that's finished a little awkward. I think that was just a little bit of adrenaline there that caused him to overscrew that.
John Higgins, 17.
That looks pretty good though. There might be a little bit sticking out here. But we have to hit it very thin to keep it safe. There you can see not a lot sticking out. He wants to keep the blue as close to the cushion here as possible. Very good. Now, coming off this cushion with side, it's so easy to hit the black. And you'll need a little bit of good luck to knock this safe. You can't really pick a safety shot out, Stephen. You've got to just hit it and hope that you can knock it safe.
That's exactly, Dennis. You're just in the lap of the gods here. He didn't mean to put the blue in the bottom cushion. That's the pace he played it at. It was a very good shot. Trusting a little bit to luck not to put the blue over the corner pocket.
Both players needing blue and pink to take this frame and then take us to the mid-session interval. Where's that cue ball? Oh, if that had dropped in the middle pocket. Well, this is a tough pot that faces John Higgins. The natural angle will take him back up towards the pink. White may go a little bit close to the left middle pocket, but should be okay. But this is a tough shot. Cued that beautifully, he really did.
5.
He only needs the pink. And what a steal this would be. Mark Williams had a break of 62, just ran slightly out of position. That could be a very important frame in the context of this match. Mark Williams looked like he was going to open up a 4-frame advantage, but John Higgins battled his way back, and they go to the mid-session interval just to the difference, 7-5.
Oh, goodness me, this is great stuff. How would you describe the standard of play that we've been seeing today, John?
Well, I hate to say it because of this morning's, but it's chalk and cheese from this morning's session. There is another standard of match play is being played this afternoon, and John Higgins, aside from all the qualities that he's got, his self-preservation is unbelievable. I can't think of anybody else who'd have got out of that session the way Mark Williams was playing. Mark Williams is hitting the ball so good, and yet John's managed to just keep slugging it out with him and won a frame there. As Stephen said on commentary, he's great at doing it, but wonderful self-preservation from Higgins.
And this is something that we've seen time and time again, and I'm sure that not far from Mark Williams' thoughts is that UK Championship final against John, where he got 4 in front and John won the last 5 to beat him in the final. And that's surely got to be a mental scar there.
Yes, these two lads are very well aware of how much damage the other can do. And I think that when the match started off yesterday, the first frame was all over the place, but they've settled down nicely. And I think we're in for a cracking match. Obviously, Mark Williams is in superb form, as John said, and he very nearly extended his lead, and that would have been tough for John Higgins. But you just know with John, if anybody ever did give 100%, I'm sure it is him. You know, he is that close to perfection in so much of the game, and it's a beauty to watch his face and the grit and determination written
it's
right across his forehead.
Isn't it? It's true, I know. You know, I was adding this up, but before we came on air, that's Mark Williams' 7th century of this championship. You know, in 2003, when he won the second of his titles, he only made 6. Is this world title form that we're seeing from Mark?
I think he's hitting the ball like the world champion. I mean, the only problem he's got is he's got a lump of Scottish granite to get past because he just doesn't give in, Higgins. But if he can get past him, he looks like the world champion to me.
Okay, well, it's all boiling up very nicely in this one, isn't it? Now, they're going to have a little cup of tea. We're going to enjoy a blast from the past. Tony Knowles. Do you remember Tony? Winner of 2 world ranking events. The last of them was in 1983. And would you believe, 28 years later, Tony is going to Q School to try and get back on the main snooker tour. If he did, it would be an amazing achievement for someone who's even older than Steve Davis.
The picturesque town of Bowness and Windermere in the Lake District is a honeypot for tourists, with its fantastic scenery and relaxed way of life. And it is here in the tranquil setting that you'll find one of snooker's former greats.
Hi, my name's Tony Knowles, and hopefully all you snooker fans out there will remember me from the 80s.
Tony shot to prominence in 1982 when he defeated Steve Davis 10-1 in the World Championship. Those days are a distant memory for the former world number 2.
It was 10 years ago that I came up here and started operating it as a licensee. My father was steward of a conservative club where I started to play snooker. Hence, I'd been behind the bar since I was probably 9 years old. So it looks as though I'm destined to be behind the bar the rest of my life.
An entrepreneur at heart, Tony has always had interests outside of the sport. Having successfully established a hairdressing salon in Manchester, all his attentions are focused on turning this run-down establishment into one of the town's most thriving businesses.
While I was playing, I'd already invested in properties. I had a degree in design and I utilised some of that rebuilding certain properties. In the last 10 years, we've added on quite a sizeable building to this property. The main design has been done by myself and then it's been given to the architects to put together.
He's not only done the designs but most of the physical work, and his hands-on approach is helping Tony see the fruits of his labour.
And that's what makes these bedrooms all worthwhile. The view.
However, snooker is Tony's first love, and thanks to the Q School, he's now prepared to put his new way of life on hold for a return to those glory days.
The business is now starting to develop, and not just from a bar, it's going into, like, say, a restaurant and bedrooms. So once that's established and running, I'm sure I'll be able to have more time to go back onto the circuit and play a bit of snooker. Now that Barry's actually took over World Snooker, he's gone back to opening the game up so professionals can actually qualify in the qualifying school. And it's that what I'm interested in. I'll give it a shot and see how we go. Snooker's in my blood. You know, I've been playing snooker since I was 9 years old. It's something that you always want to go back to. I've been competing all my life and playing snooker, and it's something I find I don't really need to sort of practice too hard to actually play to a certain level. Steve Davis and Jimmy are still playing, so it'd be nice to actually get back on the table and compete and be drawn against one of them two players in a match. So we'll see how we go in the qualifying school and competing against younger players half my age. You never know, a good draw. Fair win behind, playing well, bit of practice, which I haven't done for a long while, and we'll give it a shot.
Good old Tony, and it just goes to show the competitive instinct never leaves you, Steve.
Well, it just goes to show that snooker players must be genuinely mad, because there he is, peace and tranquility, and he's sacrificing it all for the torture of the qualifying score.
It's true, isn't it? What do you think of it? It's a great effort.
He's mad. He's absolutely mad. I mean, honestly, but he also, you can tell from that he hasn't lost the gift of the gab. I mean, he was one of the world's greatest talkers. I got on a flight with him one time to Dubai. My wife fell asleep. She was there. We'd just taken off. It's about 7.5, 8 hours to Dubai. I saw Tony was sitting on his own. I thought, I'll go and have a little word with him. So I sat there next to him, asked him 2 questions, and then got a tap on my shoulder. Can you put your seatbelt on? We're about to land. I asked him about the snooker rankings and what did he think of the tables, and that was it. 6 hours later, he'd finished talking.
Well, he's a terrific character. In all seriousness, he says himself he doesn't have to practice hugely to re-establish some modicum of his form. But in all seriousness, how do you think he's going to fare against some of these younger players?
Well, I think that's the fun for him. Perhaps he doesn't have to. It's just he wants to challenge himself. And he has played in some of the PTCs we've had this year, and I think he's enjoyed them enough that he wants to sort of see if he can get back on. He's seen what's currently out there. He probably feels that with a bit more dedication, he could get back a bit more standard. And he's a quality player.
Absolutely, former world number 2. Yeah.
It is whether or not you can mix and match. That's a difficult bit, but you never know.
Well, it'd be lovely to see him back at the Crucible one day, wouldn't it?
Oh, great, yeah. And if it doesn't work out, he's stick the hard hat back on, can't he?
Oh, yeah, special rates maybe if we get the good word in for the hotel. Eh?
Swan for breakfast?
Oh,
no, you
please,
can't, can you?
No, let's not go there. All right, we're getting right down to the nitty-gritty in our Classic Shots Reenactment Society. Today they relive what was, without question, the twitchiest moment in snooker history ever.
Welcome to the last of our shows, where we have had our experts testing their ability at trying to recreate some classic shots from years gone by. They've been scoring each other, tactics has come into play, so it's still all to play for. This final shot is Davis's overcut.
No. Let's see what we can do. Well, at least it'd have gone safe.
I would have hoped that John could have got a bit closer, and he also had it very thick, which is something that you don't want to do in a situation like that. It's a 4.
But you hit it thin and left it on. But when it's finished.
It cost me more than 6 points, though.
Given that you said you couldn't work out how thin it was, I can't believe how thick you hit it. But you did at least make it look a difficult shot. So, 5.
Thank you,
Good
Neil.
effort.
Yeah, I have to agree with Neil. I think you did make it look even more difficult than it probably was. But you did get to play the safety in mind, and that's always key. So I'm going to give you a 6.
Thank you, Ken. Dennis, long-term pal and
one of my best buddies, but that was
around the world together.
Yeah, that was abysmal though. That was so thick. You tried to play that as a shot to nothing. On the black ball in the final of a World Championship, you can't throw a shot to nothing in, John. You got to go for the cut. Too thick. You're only getting 4. Sorry, JB.
Okay. Anyone remember those doubles Dennis was playing?
I think, as you said, JV, this is close to enough in this pocket, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I
That's the
thought
problem.
that, but Steve never thought about the enough. He thought about not hitting it too thick. Well, and this is what would have happened if it had potted the ball. Where's the cue ball going?
It shows you. The shot was on to going off.
All right, okay.
I'm sorry, but I don't want to be overcritical because it's not my type of form, really. I'm going to give you one of my favourite numbers. 3.
Michaela, it's not my favourite number as well. 3, because that was a good pot, Neil, even though you tried to miss it.
I know, I tried to pot it. I
did you?
wanted to just say I could pot the shot that Steve missed.
I'll stick with 3.
Well, we all remember what an exciting finish it was. But imagine if Steve had a potted the black and that cue ball had rattled the jaws, it would have gone down in history as the most exciting moment ever. So I'm going to give it 4.
I'm going to give it a 10 because I didn't pot it and Neil did. It's a 10 for me.
And I think also that was insightful that the in-off was on.
It might be insightful, but it's spiteful that you've mentioned it.
Okay, well, I'm trying to do a Steve Davis impression.
Give it one of those, Ken. Ken, give it a flick under the nose.
I think
Here we
like
go.
Steve at all.
No, it's terrible, wasn't it?
Looks more like a Freddie Parrot face, David. That's what happened.
No, what about this?
Bit too hard, but I'll tell you what. Yeah, I'm one of them. You're one of them. Yeah.
Great effort. He can't put the black exactly where Steve did, but he hit it too hard. And I'm only pleased they didn't finish up where they are now, because I wouldn't have potted that one. But I'll give the Darling a Dublin 5.
Well, if that had been half a table slower, that would have left us with the exact position that Dennis had to pot it. So halfway there, I'll give it 5.
I'm going to say personally that was spooky. That was like looking in a mirror at myself.
Yes.
So I'm going to give it, for artistic impression, the direction of the shot, other than the little speed difference, a 9 for Ken there.
Thank you, Steve.
When you say mirror, that wasn't in the fun house in Blackpool.
Ken, I think the impression of Steve was absolutely woeful and the shot wasn't much better. I'll give you a 5 anyway.
Oh, thank
no
you.
tactical vote, 5.
It's a tougher shot than it looked all those years ago.
Well, look at your face when you were sat down, Dennis. It looked as though it was all...
Well, I thought I pushed.
Listen, we'd have all done the same emotion.
I don't know how he overcut it.
Oh, well, that's... Well.
And that's what you should have done, Steve.
The black going in spoilt it for me. So I'm just going to give him 1.
Well, I know what you're saying, John. I mean, if we're trying to replicate these great shots, or are we trying to sort of say how they should have been done? It's a fine dividing line.
Yeah.
But me, I'm a little bit of a masochist, and I like being put in my place. The way Dennis put me in my place there, I'm giving Dennis a 10. He potted the black.
I'm going to give you 5, Dennis. Nice pot.
And the fact that you potted the black, which is exactly totally the opposite of what we're trying to achieve here. So, but I'm going to be very, very generous and give you.
That is generous, Dennis, isn't it?
2 1s from the boys on the end. There's a bit of tactical voting
No, it's
going
not tactical. It's not tactical.
I can't do it.
The pressure's up. Oh no! Again! Well, I thought he'd give us a treat and potted it. And I thought he tried to pot it. Terrible shot. I'm just giving it 5.
Well, Steve's been consistently one of the greatest players for so many years, and again, you were consistent all these years later on that shot. You overcut it again, 10 for consistency, if nothing else.
Thank you. If nothing else.
Yeah, well, you missed it again.
Well, there's nothing else. There's nothing else.
Well, I do. I'm sorry, but I do have to agree. Apart from you overcut it. You left it in the jaws where you left it all those years ago.
Yeah, but it couldn't be
and I'm going to give you a 10 as well. Well done, Steve.
Thank you, thank you.
Is it well done? Well, I'm pleased you didn't leave it there because all those years ago I would have missed that one. But yeah, just a little bit harder and he would have had it right. So I'm going to give this 6 times former world champion a big 7.
Wow.
And I think he deserves to win this competition.
What a great display from the 6-time world champion. His top score of the competition must surely have won him yet another title. Yes, and there it is, confirmation that Steve Davis adds the illustrious 2011 Commentators Classic Shots title to his honour roll.
You know, there's something rather perverse about the fact that Steve's worst moment in the game has led to his best moment as a pundit. He's won the league. Congratulations, Stevie.
Thank
it was
you.
a bit cruel to make you reenact that, wasn't it?
Well, it was just the way it was, but I think we had so much fun doing that. It seemed a long time ago now. It was the day before the start of the tournament, but it was so much fun. We had just tears rolling down our eyes.
Well, let's just see how the 2 shots compared, 85 to 2011, because there's a real difference in this one. Here we go. Right, talk us through it, Steve.
Well, obviously, Obviously, Dennis looks a little more relaxed there. Yeah, as you can see, the ball's in exactly the same position. I quit a bit on the shot on the left there, but I went for it full-blooded, obviously, in my prime, but nowhere near it. But I think the left hand to the temple really won it for me.
I think it did.
I knew what hand went up to the temple. I think that's where Ken went wrong there, but...
For sheer guts.
Oh, thank you very much.
In reliving that awful moment, we'd like to present this to you. Congratulations, Steve. You are the pundits champion.
Thank you very much.
And you can lord
Pleasure.
that
Thank
one
you.
over Dennis
Thank
for
you.
the next 25 years if you
I should
can.
go straight in Dennis's face.
Very harsh. Very harsh to make my mate play that shot. I'd have backed you up there.
Thank you.
I'd have backed you up. You'll have a piece of cake though.
Okay, well, you get into that cake and I shall draw everyone else's attention to a special programme that's coming your way on Tuesday evening at 9 o'clock on BBC Two. And it's about a broadcaster who really led the way and set the standard for us all. He is, of course, the one and only David Coleman.
The game you're about to see is the most stupid, appalling, disgusting and disgraceful exhibition of football possibly in the history of the game.
That's it! As soon as he had a microphone in front, he was excited.
1-0.
David was on the screen most nights of the week. I remain in awe of his ability doing stuff that I couldn't possibly do.
Somebody you could trust.
There have been developments in the Olympic Village.
What was such a tragedy, certainly David's finest hour.
I mean, everyone knew the voice. If David Coleman said you ran well, then that was better than your coach saying that you ran well.
It was from the heart, that's why.
Quite remarkable indeed, and we will all watch that, and believe me, we will all learn something, as we always did from David. David, I hope you're well, and we send you our very best wishes from the snooker. All right, and I'm sure you are enjoying the action this afternoon in this fascinating match between the world number 1 and the world number 2. They are just about to come out again for the remainder of this second session in the semi-final. And we've got Stephen Hendry and Dennis Taylor. Dennis, by the way, I would avoid Steve Davis. He has a rather large cake that he's wielding in his hands at the moment.
Yes, I'm going nowhere near him, Hazel. Players back in to the arena.
Clear frame 13. John Higgins to break.
Can't wait to see that documentary on David Coleman. I watched the one on Man United and Bobby Charlton, and that doesn't have to fill you with tears. It was brilliant. Meanwhile, not the best break-off shot from John Higgins. Left a longish pot for Mark Williams, but the black and pink are tied up, so there's not a lot of value in taking the red on, unless he can manufacture a cannon to develop the black or get round the table for the blue, but you just never know with Mark. I think this time it's just going to be a safety.
Yeah, you're never happy playing that safety shot that Mark played, because you know that you've given the initiative to your opponent. John can play a much better safety here. The dump shot, as Cliff calls it, isn't it? The shot Mark just played.
Yes, Cliff Thorburn, who will be over here for the final on Monday. We start playing in the Legends Tour all over the UK for 28 shows. Cliff is part of that, as Mark Williams sends a plant into the corner and finishes one perfectly on the brown.
John Higgins had a rueful look in his face there. Bit unlucky to leave a straight plant. It was unmissable, that's why Mark could hit it as hard as he could to get the white back out for colour. Careless shot there. He's still got a red to the right corner, but
5.
I think he played for the red that's closest to the white into the centre pocket.
Six.
Just show you that plant one more time. You never know where the cue ball's going. You just hit and hope, and it moved quite a few balls and found the gap back down the table.
where's the pink going? He'll be alright, he's got a red to the centre. But he's the wrong angle on the red, so
12.
Pink doesn't pot anywhere, the black doesn't pot anywhere, so I'm going to have to play this with a lot of right hand side. Come off the cushion and go up for the blue.
13.
If he could get himself on the red for the right corner pocket, the one that's above the black, he could bring the black into play in a few
18.
shots' time. And he's got the angle
19.
to do that now. There's a possibility that he could be able to just bring the black into play in a couple of shots' time. I'm not sure if he can drop on that red this time. There's two reds that'll go, but the one next to the black, if he'd
24.
spun that up a little bit further and left that straight, he would have been okay. He could have released the black there. So it's back for the blue from where he's finished. And that's what he was going to do. See, the white further to the left, if it had been straight on the red between the black and red, he could have dropped that in and then he'd have been nicely on the black. Or maybe you can still get to the black from this angle. Looked a bit tight, but it must go. Black will go on to the pink spot. So you can just see enough of it.
$32. $33.
Just gone a little bit too far in the black. He would like to have played the black to the left corner and followed through for any one of three reds to the right corner. He's gone too far, so he can't play for them reds now. Play some sort of cannon here, follow through and cannon a red. Try and brush off the red that's closest to the black.
That's a typical example there when we talk about fractions. Just another quarter, half inch, and he'd have been absolutely perfect. And that was very delicately played. I, like you, Stephen, thought he maybe was just going to brush off
40.
one of the other reds, but how well did he judge that? But his touch is quite amazing
41.
in these sort of situations. He does stroke the ball beautifully.
$48. $49.
It just shows you the character of this player. He made a 62 break in the frame before the mid-session interval, and somehow John Higgins managed to win that frame, and well, Mark's just come out and he's playing here as if he'd won that frame.
56. $57. $64. 65.
frame already safe now that the black disappears. Tough school, Stephen.
72.
Yes, it's one mistake at the minute. Certainly any mistake that John's making, although I know he won the last frame, but Mark was careless in getting out of position on 62, so he looked like losing that frame in one visit. And again, he's done it this time. He was unlucky to leave a straight plant. And this is the result. He's lost the frame.
$80. 81. $88.
Yeah, a little bit unlucky, John, in this frame, leaving that plant. But after the plant, the break has been superb.
$96. 97.
Beautiful century break from Mark Williams, the 63rd in this year's World Championship. He won't bother about missing that red.
On the frame.
So just that one chance and that plant, and Mark Williams makes a century break, and he's back 3 frames in front again. It's 8-5. Well, the centuries I mentioned a couple of years ago, 83 centuries. There is the century breaks at the Crucible. 68 way back in 2002, but there's that 83 a couple of years ago, and we're at 63. It won't be beaten, but that was some record, Stephen, wasn't it?
It was incredible. Sometimes it depends on how the tables are playing with the centuries, the amount of centuries are made. Sometimes the tables play a little bit tighter, but the last couple of years, 2-3 years, as you mentioned earlier, they've started recovering the tables every 2 or 3 days, which has definitely helped with the scoring, I think.
Yeah, we mentioned about John being unlucky. He played a safety shot here. Now look at the table, there's no plant on. He's just playing a straightforward safety shot. Here it comes. Look at the way the reds have gone. There's 2 reds dropped together. It was perfectly safe. Mark Williams hammered a plant in that wasn't there initially. There you see it, and that was the end of frame. Another key frame coming up. Well, they're all key frames at this stage in the semi-final. But John Higgins knows that he can't really afford to drop 4 behind. Okay, we keep talking about that UK Championship when he was 9-5 down. He had to win the last 5 frames, but as you can see by his expression there, Mark's made a pretty good break-off shot. There's no way you can just leave the white up this end of the table because of the red behind the black. So he may have to pot his way out of trouble here. And that's what he tried, and he stuck that red up. But it was a pretty good break-off shot, it has to be said.
One.
He's such a quick player, Mark Williams, but he doesn't look quick, Stephen. He just walks around the table quite casually.
Yeah, I read a stat yesterday that of the 4 semi-finalists, his average frame time was, I think, 13 minutes, the shortest of the 4 semi-finalists. So when you think he had Ding and Judd, who are not slow players, when he's playing like this, he's as fast as anybody. That was careless.
16.
He'll be annoyed with himself for doing something like that.
Well, you need to be pretty tall to reach across and sit on the table like that. He's well over 6 feet tall, Mark. And look at this shot he's played.
70.
Perfectly on the pink. The plant's not on. If they're touching, it could be made. He's having a look to see if they're touching. Where does the pink go? Amazing the number of times in this match the pink won't respot. As you look at the two reds there, you'd think you'd have to hit the first red on the left side as we look at it. It's the opposite. You'd have to hit it on the right side, and then that would squeeze the second red and possibly make it into a plant. It's got the one to the middle pocket, of course. But we know what happened in the previous frame when he made a plant and scattered the reds. Although looking at that, the two reds are not touching.
Come back.
But it looks as if he's still going to try and squeeze it. Well, he definitely wants to take it on, but yeah, I think he's better with this single red, because it's not guaranteed that, Stephen, is it?
No, I must admit I didn't fancy that shot at all. The only problem he's got is if he plays to leave an angle on a blue to split the pack from the blue, that plant is going to be there.
24.
So it's going to brown or yellow, depends how straight it is in the brown, off the side cushion and into the pack. I think the brown's a little bit too straight.
Yeah, if he's got an angle, that's the shot that Stephen will play. But he'll do the same shot, play the same shot from the yellow. He'll take the same line here. And, well, when you're playing well and you're getting a decent run and you're queuing well, this happens. He only touched the reds, and that one just came out beautifully, didn't it? It looked as if he was going to cover everything.
Yeah, he had too much angle on the yellow to I think, to hit it hard. But as you say, things are going well for him at the moment.
That's what happens if you don't catch them fuller. You slide off them towards a corner pocket.
32.
End of break.
Mark Williams, 32.
This was the shot here. He wanted a fuller contact, hit that red half ball, and that was the outcome. So pink and black tied up now. So a few safeties to see who can make a mistake. Makes it a little bit awkward now with the red up the other end of the table. There's a couple of interested spectators. The one on the right, CJ from Eggheads. The one on the left, that's my son Damien, who's got a week off. Coaches some of the European Tour golfers. Works with Pablo Alazabal, a young Spanish golfer who's got a great future ahead. Paul Broadhurst works with him, and he's back working with Nick Doherty again. So Nick falling down the rankings. Hopefully he can get back up into the top 50 where he was a couple of seasons ago. Meanwhile, this is the safe end of the table because of that red.
There's a lot of pressure on John Higgins' safety at the minute. Every time he lets Mark have a long ball or leaves him in, he's winning a frame. So another poor safety shot by John. Another long pot from Mark.
Yeah, it's a pet hate of snooker players when you catch a balk colour when you play the safety shot, because Mark, the way he's potting, as you said, Steve, and you've got to get the white near the balk cushion. And a few times John has just caught one of the colours when he's playing a safety. There's the pot success rate, 92% from Mark.
Mark Williams 1.
John, well, at 90%. If you can get up to 93, 94, then you're in business.
Yeah, talking about hitting the balk colour, when you're playing well and everything's going, you never hit the balk colour with your safety. And all of a sudden you're under pressure. I mean, if you tried to play a safety shot and hit the balk colour, you probably could never do it. It's incredible when it happens when things are not going for you.
Foul and the miss. Mark Williams 4.
Well, the miss only costs 4 points, but the fact he has missed it, he's left a pot.
One.
John's getting completely outplayed at the moment. Mark needs one more frame to guarantee at least having a lead going into the next session. But it's about damage limitation now for John. He's got to try and get as many frames from this session as he can.
Six. Played for the one near the pink and black, come up a bit short. He always had the other as an option.
7.
You can see the side on the cue ball there, but not quite enough. You need a little touch more right hand side to just leave the angle on the blue that was needed. That's what he's left with there. It's slightly the other side. Well, we know that this red cuts past the pink because he did have a look at it previously. Play it as a shot to nothing. The white will go up towards the brown. There's another floater from Mark Williams.
13.
Tight in behind the yellow because he's awkward on that brown. So at the moment he is dominating things. And it's up to John Higgins to try and turn it around. It's so difficult though when you've got an opponent like Mark playing so well. Plenty of reds for John, but is he going to get a chance? Is he coming off the side cushion? Has to get this just right and not too much pace. Slip past the reds. Okay, the pink and black safe as I mentioned, but what sort of angle has he got here? Yeah, he's left the pot.
1.
And it looks as if he could have left himself on the pink. I thought the pink and black were out of play. If he hadn't screwed that back so far, he could have potted the pink. I suppose John was a little bit unlucky to slip past him and leave that one for the middle. Well, he's trying to bend this with a touch aside. It looks difficult. Probably finish up knocking the blue safe. Or the green. Or the yellow. A colour on the cushion here if he doesn't fancy this. He's got a 51-point advantage. He's got the pink and black a little awkward. Put another colour safe.
I think yellow in the side cushion, try and get the white behind the brown. But I think that I can also play the snooker, roll the black, leave the white behind the pink. But I think the reason he's thinking about going for the pink is he can't leave anything on if he misses it. He's just going to play a containing shot.
Yeah, the yellow safe and maybe in behind the brown would be a good choice, wouldn't it? The one you suggested, Stephen.
Mark Williams 1.
Yeah, good choice. I say he's got to be so careful with John Higgins. He made that 62 break frame before the mid-session interval and finished up losing it. John did remarkably well to take that frame.
I think that factored in his decision making there not to take the risky pink, because he knows if he gives John one chance he can clear up, even the fact he's 3 frames behind.
Well, he's looking at the possibility of a plant stave in there, and John had looked at it and felt that he wouldn't be able to pull it off, but do you think he can make this? Well, there's your answer. He's got away with that. He's been rather fortunate. Once he got the double kiss, there's the 2 reds that could have been made into a plant, but John had decided that it wasn't really on. That's why he left the cue ball up here, but he was a bit fortunate there, Stephen, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's very fortunate. He's shown a lot of respect for John by turning that plant down, because he could have played out an element of safety, screwing the white back to the cushion.
Well, that looked a pretty easy shot, didn't it? But those are so difficult, dead weight to get the snooker. You can't get a shot at anything in this frame, John Higgins.
Oh, and a miss.
What was that all about? He was trying to get a thin snick on it, and it was such an easy escape. Mark's looking at the scoreboard, 56 points the difference. He only needs 1 red, so he's going to take this one on. In fact, pretty good choice, because the blue's out of commission now as well, so he's got a couple of balls safe, and he only needs the 1 pot, and we know how good he is at this type of shot. But just looking at the score, 56, if he pots the red, he'll need 1 more colour. Now, does that pink pot? He looked at it previously. Must be tight. If he hits the pink and black at the same time, it's a foul shot. Players, if it's a bit risky, they won't play the shot, because you could get down, hit this hard, and the referee wouldn't know which colour you hit first. But
yeah, I think it's the right shot. Putting the black safe. It's 57 in front, so John Higgins needs the black.
that's the frame pretty safe now. And John Higgins stays in his seat.
Yep.
Yes, he signalled to the referee. He's in a terrible situation in this frame. So Mark Williams has opened up a 4-frame advantage at a crucial time. John Higgins got a lot to do now and a lot to think about.
Well, shades all over again of the United Kingdom Championship final in December, lads, but an awfully long way to go now compared with then. John Higgins' predicament, how do you see it now, Steve?
Tough, because he's up against one of the greatest players there's ever been, Mark Williams. There are many people that say that John Higgins has the greatest tactical brain in the game. There are many people that say that Ronnie O'Sullivan is the most naturally gifted player. But you know, sometimes you could make a case for Mark Williams in his own way being the best tactical and the most naturally gifted in a completely different way, but it's certainly a gift he has.
How did you read that last frame? Because John Higgins clearly tied up in knots by the end of it, and that's very rare to see.
He's just being comprehensively outplayed by Mark Williams in scintillating form potting wise, but you know, tactically superb. He's laying traps. Every time he's laid a trap, John's come out of it, left him on. He's picking everything that's away. I mean, it's the quality of his match play. I've played Mark Williams when he's played like this, and I played him in a semi-final in Ireland a few years ago, and I lost 6-1, never saw a ball all the way through it. You come to the table, and there's a problem every time you come to the table. When you make a mistake, he punishes you severely. Then, if there's awkward games, he wins those as well. There doesn't seem to be any way past him.
It's hard to remember, I know, but 2003, it was when he last won this championship, Mark Williams, and we've already established that he's made 2 centuries more than he did the entire championship then. Can you gauge whether he's playing better now than he did 8 years ago?
Well, if you decide that the general standard of snooker in the last 5 years has gone up, not down, I certainly think it has, I think most people do think that, then you can say, yes, he is playing better snooker. And that's a simple equation that everybody's standard is dragging everybody else up. So generally, we're getting better as players. Well, I'm not talking about myself, but we are getting better as players.
How has he done this? What has fueled the fire? Because this is a man that dropped down to number 47 provisionally in the world rankings, and he's now back up at number 1 here and very strongly challenging for a 5th place in the final.
Well, he's done it through sheer hard graft and practice and put all the hours in, and that's gained him a couple of results, which has given him the confidence. It's a catch-22 when you play snooker. You need confidence to win, but how do you get it in the first place? He's managed to find it, and at the moment, honestly, it's going to take something very special to stop him.
Well, it did the last time, because we saw a comeback from Higgins at exactly this point in that UK Championship final. So Mark Williams will be taking absolutely nothing for granted.
He's floated the red in and he's come off the cushion and left himself perfectly on the black with that little cannon. John Higgins can't seem to get the break-off shot right. He's leaving this one possible pot, but have a look at this. The black was tied up. It's not tied up now.
9.
And a delicate little cannon here will leave him on a couple of reds. He can't go straight into the bunch because of the one above the black. If he cannons the middle with 3 reds to the left of the bunch, he should be okay. Just a delicate little flick off that, and he's perfect.
16. 17. 24.
You can see the arc and the cue ball there and the side taking effect. Another delicate little screw shot. And didn't play it as he wanted this time, so that's the first slip up for quite a while from the Welshman.
Mark Williams, 25.
It was a tricky positional shot, this, wasn't it, Stephen?
Yeah, he just got into the cue ball a little bit too much screw in it. He hit the side cushion too far out. He wanted to be a little bit closer to the pocket, which obviously squared the angle up. He's kept the screw on. This is This is not easy to get safe here. John Higgins, there's obviously 3 or 4 reds on the outside of the pack, so it's not guaranteed getting this safe.
In fact, he might even be able to see enough of this red to take the pot up into the corner. Oh, that was close.
I haven't developed a good enough commentator's eye yet, Dennis. I thought he was snookered there.
Yeah, I think Mark thought he'd snookered him as well, but he just tickled in behind the black too hard. Well, he's just held his hand up. When things are going well, this is the sort of thing that happens here. The red he misses, just have a look where the red he misses goes. Comes across the table and blocks the path for the other one, which wasn't going to be an easy pot anyway, but there you see, blocked it. That would have been a nice one to have slotted in, because he would have been on the blue. He can see enough of this red, but the natural path will take him into the 2 reds or close to the pink. So if he takes this on, he'll have to pot it, because if he doesn't find that little gap between the pink and the reds, he could put John in here. He's found the gap though. If he had to flick the pink.
It's amazing the amount of times when you're playing well, you get a nice run of the ball. Fraction thicker or thinner with that red, he was cannon into something else. Would have left John at this end of the table. That was a better length of cue ball, that last safety shot by John. That's what he needs to do. Get that white as close to the baulk cushion as possible. It's another good one.
Going to have to put in a really good safety shot, John, to try and create a chance for himself. I mean, the blue's in the perfect spot to try and get in behind, coming around the angles. Can't really get to it this time. Now, can John put in a telling safety to put Mark in a spot of bother? Because he hasn't potted the ball, John, for must be over half an hour, I would think. He's got to be careful where he pushes the red, but there is a chance to swing it around the table and get in behind that blue. This time it's John that's he's trying to get in behind the blue and somehow managed to plant. But what sort of angle has he got on the brown? Let's have a look at this. Oh, that's one of your plants there, Stephen.
He must have some sort of angle in the brown, because he's been down to look at the reds, but he just doesn't feel he wants to take any risks at the minute. It's the pressure that Mark's putting on him.
You can see it's just off straight. He'd have to really force that brown, wouldn't he?
John Higgins won.
Desperately needs these last 2 frames, John. Doesn't want to give, even if he shares the last 2 frames, Mark's got a 4-frame lead going into the final. Sorry, the 3rd session, so That'd be a big lead to give someone like Mark the way he's playing.
Oh, he's judged that beautifully, and it's made it very awkward for John Higgins because it's not a touching ball. There's no way back down the table. All John can do is just tickle into this one. He did have a fresh air shot there, but it's not a foul at snooker. It is at golf. You can have as many goes as you want at hitting the cue ball, but it was a delicate little one, as this is.
John will be happy to keep doing this.
Touching ball.
Yeah, re-rack. He's 25, 1 down in this frame.
We've got a touching ball, so we can this time get the white across the table a couple of times. I don't know if he can manage to get towards the blue, but the green would be in the way, but anywhere near the baulk cushion would be good here. Always worth having a look to see if there's a red that'll cut in when you're playing a safety. This time it's Mark's turn to catch one of the ball colours and prevent the cue ball from landing on the cushion. John, not having potted the ball for so long, he's going to wait for a better chance. He's going to try and get in behind the brown here. He's got the green also, so plenty of side, swing it around the angles. He'll get close to this. He's only potted one ball for something like 40 minutes, but this time he's played a little beauty. And Mark Williams tapping the table in acknowledgement there. Tough to land on one here. Just wondering if he's going to look at the 2 cushion escape, Stephen, to try and flick off a red.
Yeah, looks like it. 2 cushions with right hand side. Try and flick this red thin and send the white back up to baulk.
Oh,
you always tend to miss that thin. At least it gives you another chance to hit it again the next time.
John Higgins 5. Yeah.
He won't mind missing this 2 or 3 times until he gets the correct angle.
John, okay.
Somewhere near the line there would take him to that. Close again.
Foul, and the miss.
This is when you're relying on the ref
John Higgins
putting the
4.
white back in exactly the same position, because you need to know exactly where, if you're going to make an adjustment, where it's going to be, whether it's further up the cushion or a little bit more side. I would expect him to get it this time.
I thought you said you didn't have the commentator's eye. He got it that time. Always listen to a 7 times former world champion. They don't be wrong very often. Now then, that hit the jaw of the middle pocket. Has he got the snooker? That would be a bonus, and not quite. Mark will try and get behind the brown here if he can hit enough of this red. Not hard enough. He's come up short. Well, we've seen century breaks in this match. Now we're seeing some fabulous safety and tactical play. another good length, but it's the player that can get behind either the brown or the blue that's going to gain the advantage. Now this is tricky because you can double kiss this when you're playing back down the table if you don't catch it correctly. This has got a chance to get behind the green. Oh, look at this shot. Have a look at this. And he took 3 attempts to get a safety the last time he was in a situation like this. And to come off one cushion and hit the red thin and get back up the table is probably more difficult than hitting 2 cushions. Difficult to judge this. He could hit the red full ball here. Watch the side. Didn't get the thin snick that he needed. Might be worth taking this red to the left corner. It's not an easy pot, but he'd be guaranteed to get on the brown or the blue here. It's a bit of a free shot. That's a beautiful shot from John Higgins. It really is. He knew he was always going to give himself a chance of the blue or the brown, depending on the pace. But to strike down and play that with a little touch of stun, it was top class.
If the red closest to the black pot's to the left corner, I think I'll just play off 1 cushion here. They have a choice of 2 reds to the left corner pocket.
Just as you predicted, Stephen, but he's finished a bit straight on this one. Another couple of rolls and he would have been able to have played nicely onto the pink or the black. But he's dead straight, as you could see there. And this is a tough one to the middle pocket. It'll get him nicely on the black. This is a key shot. No, it's on the near jaw.
John Higgins 6.
Normally would knock those in, but I think it's the fact that he's 4 frames behind, Stephen. A bit of pressure on that.
There was some pressure on that ball, Dennis. 9-5 ahead, those are easy. 9-5 down. Very tough.
One.
And this is where the psychology comes into it. They have sports psychologists in most sports, certainly a lot of them in golf. They're in snooker now. Ronnie O'Sullivan had been talking to one, and really it's getting yourself to in that situation to imagine you were 4 frames up rather than 4 frames down. Easier said than done.
Very much easier said than done. And he was, I mean, John was unlucky. He's played a good positional shot off the blue. He's unlucky for the cue ball to travel 12 feet and finish dead straight. It was very unlucky, but those are things that happen when you're behind. Everything looks awkward. Mark didn't want to have to play this red. In fact, he's going to play the red to the left of the pink.
14.
Stun round off 2 cushions for the blue into the same pocket as before.
Mark Williams 14.
Pretty close, but once the red wobbled, it could have gone anywhere, and it ran safe. This is not easy, the one behind the pink. Good cueing there.
One.
Do with the cannon into the 3 reds that are near the cushion, and He hasn't got a good angle on the blue, but the red is available to the left of the black. He's got an angle on the green, but he'll have to be very precise with this. Needs to slip past the black. He doesn't want to drop on the black. Just about okay, is he?
4.
If you can leave the black in the same pocket. Oh, John, you took your eye off the pot, John.
John Higgins 4.
He was thinking so much of getting on the black in such a way as to bring the 3 reds into play, and just forgot about the pot. It's so easy to do that out there, Stephen, isn't it?
Yeah, you start making shots more difficult. When you're under pressure, you start making shots more difficult than they are. You start seeing problems. He was obviously concentrating so much on making sure he was high on the black because he wanted to split the 3 reds. He just took his eye off the pot. But every visit to the table, Johnny's under so much pressure. And these are the frames that Mark Williams excels in. Dennis, these scrappy frames. He wins so many of these.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to mind them. A lot of players lose a bit of concentration when the balls go awkward. I'll tell you what, he's tried to double that because he knew he couldn't leave anything, only the red he tried to double, and he tried to get an angle on the black to then go into the 3 reds. Is John trying the same thing? He is. You could have done with hitting that a little bit harder. I don't know if you can get past the pink to the potting angle of that one, but maybe the pink's in the way.
Apart from being ranked 1 and 2 in the world, these 2 players, they probably are 2 of the best doublers I've ever seen in the game.
You didn't mind the odd double, Stephen, did you?
I hated a double.
Well, I've seen you at the bar.
Touching ball.
I wasn't paying though.
Just a little bit awkward now with a red over either middle pocket. Is he trying to tempt John Higgins, I wonder? John's looking at taking this red up into the left corner pocket. He's got to make something happen, and he's looking at the angle again, so this is a brave shot. He's thinking about it again. Okay, if he was to knock this into the left corner, he could finish on the pink. The only red he would leave would be the one he'd have a go at.
It was a clever shot from Mark, though, wasn't it, Dennis?
Well, the way he was looking up the other end of the table, he's just trying to leave the white in an awkward spot, maybe get on the brown and roll this in the corner. No, just the safety. He looked a few times at having a go at that pot, but he knew it was so risky, and Mark was trying to trap him there. As you say, very clever.
Yeah, trying to force John into taking a pot that he didn't want to take on. A little bit of a tricky situation for Mark. Again, I think the red pot's to the left corner, but is it one of his floaters then?
1.
Yeah, well spotted, Stephen. You can spot a floater at 2 miles, you. Yeah, it's been fascinating watching this little tactical battle because the balls were awkward. But he's come out on top again, and at the moment John Higgins just can't get a chance to get at Mark Williams.
No, he's been outplayed in every department. Safety, long potting, break building.
13.
And it takes something to do that against John Higgins. There's only a couple of players in the world can do that. He got a heavy contact there, but he's okay. I say he's okay, but he may not have the angle to come off the cushion and move those 2 reds. Well, maybe he has. No, it wasn't quite there. This is going close to the middle pocket. It's okay. 38 the difference. He's looking around at the scoreboard. If he could pop this red down the cushion and get on the blue, John Higgins would need a snooker. Needs his extension to reach this. So we'll have to screw this back a little bit to get on the blue, but it's a tough old pot.
Mark Williams.
The red
19.
is potable. It's finished between the green and brown. It's a good effort, but these pockets are so tough at that speed. Now, it's not easy to get to the 2 reds from the blue or the pink. He looked at the possibility of leaving himself on the brown to come off the side cushion and into the red. So let's see what he decides on here. Well, he's left himself on the brown, and he might just have the angle to do that. As long as he avoids the green. Lots of side, avoid the green, and if he can bring it near the lines, he could get to the 2 reds. No, not quite. He may have snookered himself. Not a snooker, but there's not a lot he can do here. Got to be a bit careful with this safety. Where's that cue ball going? Where is the cue ball going?
Foul.
Well,
that's 5. Mark Williams 4.
Could be costly, because now he can place the cue ball anywhere in the D area and cut that red in possibly. And he only needs that red to open up a 5-frame advantage. Didn't even think about trying to cut it in. So he's not taking any undue risks. He's keeping it tight. Not quite. You can see enough of the red. The yellow and brown are a nice target here if he doesn't take the pot on. Now he's took the pot on. Is he going to be lucky? because that red he attempted could have landed anywhere on the table. It's a good shot. As long as he covered the one in the middle of the table, it forces Mark to bring the awkward red into play. And he says it's much too thick. Okay, it's gone near the middle pocket. It's a little bit awkward, that one, but John has a chance here. He's just looking at the red that's near the middle pocket, so he's thinking a couple of shots ahead. But he's got to negotiate this one first. But if he could get on a colour and drop right in behind that red, it might go to the middle pocket.
One.
That's a pretty good shot with the rest, but he's had a look at that red near the middle, and he'd have to be so precise. He'd have to get somewhere near the circle to leave it an easy pot in the middle. Just depends. It's not bad.
Seven.
Finish on the blue, he can drop the blue in and leave the yellow for the right corner pocket.
Eight.
Well,
13.
What a frame this would be for John Higgins. Well, you mentioned before, Stephen, if you're going to bet on anyone clearing up for you, to be this man.
Yeah, this is a fantastic break.
18.
I know it's only two reds in the colours, but you're 9-5 down. You faced a barrage from Mark Williams all afternoon. This shows a lot of guts to make this clearance.
22.
It's always the tricky one, getting from brown to blue, and he's going to have to come off the cushion. This is a possible stumbling block. How's the pace on the cue ball? It looks pretty good. It needs to just roll a few more inches. Had to come across the table. He wasn't absolutely perfect on the pink, but he's played it well. Had to play with lots of right-hand side. Mark thought he had this one. What a clearance from John Higgins. Absolutely stunning. Mark Williams looked like he was going to open up a 5-frame advantage, but John Higgins dug very deep there. It's 9-6 to the Welshman.
Dug deep, and nothing that we haven't seen before from John Higgins. Just describe the moment which led to that ability from John to clear up there.
Well, Mark Williams has hardly played a bad shot this afternoon, and really this is a horrible shot. It's very tricky to get this thin. You can get it and chip it over to the corner pocket, so he's left with a quandary here, but he's hit this, well, far too thick and give John the chance. I mean, we're picking nits with Mark Williams concerning, because really he's hardly played a bad shot this afternoon, but that was one he played. But to Higgins' credit, to go and make the clearance there when he's been bombarded all afternoon, that's why he's been a champion he has.
Which I think underlines the quality of the snooker that we're seeing this afternoon, Steve, doesn't it?
Yes, and as John says, Mark's in superb form, but for those two frames that John Higgins has salvaged from somewhere, the scoreline could be 11-4, and it just shows you at this level how well John Higgins is clinging on, and he could get out of this session 9-7. Wow.
I tell you, if he does, Mark Williams will wonder what he's got to do.
Yeah.
Because he has comprehensively outplayed John today. John's seen enough snooker in his time to know that as well. If he comes out 9-7, I mean, Mark will wonder what's going on.
Well, this is the same situation we had in the Ronnie O'Sullivan match with John Higgins. Ronnie was 8-5 in front, and in the blink of an eye, it was 8-all, and that's really what put the pressure on Ronnie going into that final session, wasn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, he's just never gives in. You know, keeps going. I mean, there's times he's looked a bit rocky. He's missed 1 or 2 balls. He had the red in the middle, which Stephen said on. There was a lot of pressure on it in the centre, but he's under pressure because he knows he's being outplayed. But it's a comeback from that, Stephen.
Yeah. It actually reminds me a bit, John Higgins, of the Terminator film. You know, like you do everything to him, he still carries on, and the only way is get one of those big presses and can squash him. That's the only way you're going to knock him out.
It's true, though, and we see this time and time again. He is made of Scottish granite, isn't he?
So this is a monster frame. In the context of the match, this is a huge frame.
Okay, what will the Terminator do?
You always get something interesting from Steve Davis, eh? The Terminator. I like that.
Another good break off by Mark. John has got a red here, but I think it's going to be going into either the black or the red, so if he's going to go for it, he's going to have to get it.
Yeah, you were right, Stephen. There was no way around the back of the black and reds, but I think he's got away with it this time. So that little run of the ball we were talking about earlier seems to have reversed itself, and now John, once he missed the pot, could have put the cue ball anywhere and he'll settle for the outcome.
Trying to bring the white back to the black cushion. He's not managed that. If the red passes the pink into the centre, pretty much a shot to nothing.
Clever shot there from John Higgins. It was a free pot because he was on the pink and he was never going to leave anything, and that would have been a useful red to have knocked in. As the boys in the studio said, if John can get out of this 2 behind at 9-7, he'll be absolutely delighted. But now we've got 5 reds up the other end of the table, so it's going to be an awkward frame. I don't think John Higgins will bother what type of frame it is, as long as he could take it. First to 17 goes through to the final. So even 10-6, there's a long way to go, but 9-7. We could have a classic on our hands here from these 2 3-times former world champions. No, and he's going to leave that one, I think. but it's a little bit awkward. If it's dead straight, this is very awkward. If he's got a slight angle, he'd be able to get up onto the black. And there's the angle. Oh, there's a little black, I remember, nearly like that, Stephen. We reenacted it this week against Mark Williams in the final of the Masters. Do you remember that?
Well, now this camera shot, remember it very well.
Yeah, you would have liked that angle on the black, though, when Mark beat you in that final.
It's just interesting, since John came back, and both players went out after the last frame, a little bit of a spring in his step. He can smell the chance of winning this last frame. That's what great champions do. See an opportunity, and more often than not, they take it.
It's like an inner strength, isn't it? Inner belief. I've seen you do it so many times at the Crucible here. When your back was against the wall, you produced your best.
Nine.
He's certainly got a good chance now. He'll remove that red there that's near the cue ball, get it out of the way after this shot. And he'll have the blue and black to work with, the pink slightly out of commission.
14.
Don't worry about that.
15.
It was a little bit of a careless shot Mark played. I mean, if he couldn't see enough of the red to pot it, then he shouldn't have played the shot. So that led to John getting in here. He didn't have to take the red on.
$20.
This is the shot that Stephen was talking about, but he's been potting so well he fancied it.
21.
And John doesn't want to be dead straight on the black, and I think he is. Might have a slight angle, just a little bit of an angle there. There's a red to the right of the three, goes to the middle pocket, but he would have wanted to have been playing something easier than that. Just needs another good positional shot here to
28.
get himself in prime position.
$29.
Doesn't have to cannon into those four reds, they'll all clear each other.
$34. $35. $42. Okay.
How costly is that going to be? It did seem to come off the cushion quite fast, didn't it? So this is a key shot. You've got to be careful he doesn't screw into the middle pocket here. And he's missed the red, and he's gone close to the middle
Higgins,
pocket.
42.
So that last shot, when the white seemed to spring off the cushion a little bit quicker than it went onto the cushion, has cost him dearly possibly here. Okay, it's not an easy chance by any means, but John Higgins should have really clinched this final frame. Yeah, this was a shot. Two of those reds would go, and the white just seemed to keep on running there, Stephen.
Yeah, it definitely came off the cushion faster than it went on, so a little bit unlucky there, John. The way the reds are, though, you can't see Mark winning the frame from this visit, but you can certainly get well back into the frame.
$14. 15.
I think Mark thought he'd missed that yellow for a minute there. Just went on off the left jaw. Still in good position.
18.
My problem is he keeps taking yellows.
Which is a good thing from John Higgins' point of view.
He can play this red to the centre and possibly develop
20.
The red that's to the right of it. Knock that over the left middle.
I think he got up on the shot straight away. I think he concentrated on playing the shot you mentioned, Steve, and he was thinking more about the cannon than the pot, unless maybe we're doing him an injustice. Maybe he got a kick here. Let's have a look. Maybe he did. Maybe it was a slightly heavy contact. And that chance has gone, and now John Higgins back at the table. 22 points in front. That's a poor shot.
One.
Not sure whether he was playing to leave a straight green to then leave the red to the middle. He's going to have to do it from the yellow now.
You're going to need at least one of these awkward reds on a side cushion. So it's not guaranteed he wins a frame from here. Obviously two comfortable reds first. If he plays an angle on the red to the left middle, he could possibly play a cannon to the red that's on the left cushion. If he gets a nice angle on that.
4.
Yeah, that's the shot Stephen was talking about. He could just play for the loose red if he wanted and then think about that, but that's a possibility. He's just playing for the one that's nearest the pocket, but it just shows you how someone like Stephen Hendry would have gone about that. John's doing it slightly different.
I think John actually played to leave an angle on that red, but just came up a little bit short. So now it's just pot the blue in the middle, stun off the black cushion, and a touch of right hand side. Has he got into it too much?
He certainly has. He only needs one more red.
15.
He did get too much side on that. He was playing, as Stephen suggested, to drop in behind it, but watch the white as it hits the cushion. Look at the spin on that cue ball. A little bit harder, he would have pushed the red on.
John Higgins, 15.
Well, that's a clever shot. Not only got the snooker, he's got the two reds safe. Trouble again here with a little thin snick. You could get in behind the brown, that would be even better. he's hit the green. He tried to get in behind the brown. He can certainly free one of these reds and play a good safety. Where's that cue ball going? It's okay.
That was a nice little kiss in the brown there. Makes Mark Williams' job of clearing up all the more difficult now. He's played a good shot here though. Brought the safe right away as he left it. I think he's left a pot for John. He only needs the red.
Oh, it's a thin one, isn't it? Much too thick. Yeah, it wasn't easy, that last cut into the corner. Tense last frame to this session. Is it going to be 9-7?
Turn it off,
Is it
please.
going to be 10-6? We'll find out in a matter of 5 or 6 minutes, you would feel. Always a chance you can double that, but look at the cue ball. He's got a pretty good cue ball here.
Mark missed or played one of these shots the other side of the table last frame thick, which cost him the frame. So, again, anything but thick.
That's beautifully played. John Higgins tapping the table with his cue there in appreciation of that very good safety. It really was top drawer there. And this is far from easy. Full length of the table. He's tight on the cushion. Whereas the cue ball, it's not in the pocket. But we know what Mark Williams will do here. He needs the lot, and it's not an easy opener.
He's been potting these all day, Dennis. There's a bit of pressure on this one, though.
Well, he went full-blooded for it there. He wasn't playing this as a shot to nothing. He was leaving the white in the middle of the table to be on a colour, but the red has gone. Well, this is not an easy shot. He could take the pot on because he only needs the red, and it would be relatively safe, but what a red this would be to knock in. Oh, it's a beauty. It's a beauty from John Higgins. One of his best pots of this match so far, just at the right time.
Promo.
What was that? He had the snooker until the brown knocked the blue out of the way. I think he was so relieved at potting the red to leave Mark needing a snooker. He played a terrible shot there.
Yeah, I'm surprised he even took the brown away from the cushion, Dennis. Obviously, he was very confident getting the snooker, but why take the risk?
Yeah, I was surprised as well, but he thought I can't miss the snooker if I play the brown, but the brown knocked the blue and all of a sudden it wasn't a snooker. Well, it doesn't really matter now.
On the frame, John Higgins.
Well, in fact, yeah, Mark Williams said that's enough. It's been a fascinating session of snooker. It looked as if Mark Williams was going to lead 10-5, but somehow John Higgins has got himself right back into this match as both players have a little chat as they leave the arena. It's 9-7. It's all to play for.
Well, that really was stunning stuff, and actually John Parrott said to me that was my favourite session of the entire Crucible this year. Why, John?
Absolutely top class, right from start to finish. Mark Williams playing as good as he can play against somebody who just refused to lose. Someone who's got unbelievable stick ability. Many a player would have sat in the chair and been swamped by how good Williams was playing, and he just dug in and dug in and dug in. And how he's come out of that session, the way Mark Williams played, level on frames, 9-7 behind, but sharing the frames today. Incredible performance.
How much pressure has John put on Mark for the remaining part of this match?
I'm not too sure he's put pressure on, because you know what Mark's like, he's so laid back and everything, but he will be thinking to himself, how did I not win that session? At least 5-3 or 6-2 to go further ahead. But he's just come up against somebody who's just got tremendous attitude and will to win and simply doesn't give up.
In your mind, what is fueling John this season? A whole raft of reasons, I suspect, but uppermost in his mind, what do you think it is?
I think it's probably a reprieve, second chance, and to show everybody that, he should be regarded as a great champion, because that's what he is. And I think from start to finish, when he's picked up his cue again, he's been exemplary on the table.
Yes, indeed. 2 major championships already this season, and he's still in this one. It really is a remarkable match so far, isn't it? Well, they've got 2 sessions to play tomorrow in that match, and obviously we'll have another session from the Judd Trump match a bit later on tonight. But many of you have been tweeting us and you've been emailing us, and you've actually noticed a device that's being used under the table in the Crucible. You can see the numbers flashing and you're absolutely on it, because there is something there, and it's World Snooker's Pete Godwin who's been able to do a bit of investigating for us.
I mean, this is a new system which we've just trialled during the China Open, which was very successful, so they decided that they want this to be put on the World Championships. Basically, tables have always been heated since the early 80s, through the 90s into 2000, with sort of traditional, what we call pipe heaters, the sort of things you get in greenhouses and all that sort of thing, but it's not sort of heat that you can control. And this system we've got now is a sort of a panel system which has got a core running through it, and that then goes directly to the slate. We've got 2 readings here. One is the reading underneath is what we've got it set at, and the reading on the top is what it's achieved. What you're trying to achieve is what temperature you need it underneath to get the right temperature on top of the table. Cloth is 100% wool. Any moisture in the atmosphere just sucks it in and makes the fibres longer, and then slows the table down. So basically the heat helps to keep keep the cloth dry. It keeps the speed up, lets the ball run, makes the cloth very lively. You get the conditions right and the standard of play increases, so that's what we look for, to try and keep conditions exactly the same in every aspect of every event.
Yeah, thanks to Pete, and Alain Robidoux having a little nose there as well. I think he was genuinely interested. So it's effectively under base heating, you might say, Johnson. It's reasonably clever.
Yeah, I've got it at home. I've got 3 diagonal tubes under the table, which is the use for greenhouses and stuff like that. They've changed the system slightly now on these tables. They've done a little bit more effectively than that. So they basically cover a bigger area, but they're very good. They take all the moisture out and keep the table nice and quick.
OK, well, we've had lots of other emails from you, so thanks for those once again. This one's from Carl Banks in Stoke-on-Trent, who says, how do you work out the angles off the cushions to get snookers? Well, Dr. Davis is in the house.
Yes, well, actually, I'm not too sure how we do it. It's just judgment in a way, but here's a game you can play to improve your judgment around the table. I've got a challenger here, Joel, and we're going to have a game of table bowls. The rules of table bowls are very similar to the game of bowls, except the cue ball and the other balls. The cue ball's the jack. These are our bowls. We've got 4 of them each. They have to hit 2 cushions for it to be a legal bowl. So, it's my shot first. I've got the jack. I'm going to roll it off of 2 cushions. And all of a sudden, wherever it lands, I've now got to try and get my bowl as close as possible. So all of a sudden, I've just got to judge that line. I might as well go the same way off those 2 cushions. Side, top cushion. It's a bit short of pace, It's left the door open for Joel. It's close.
That's how we like it, though.
Yeah, OK, fair enough. He's going to go the same way. Others would go the other way. Off the cushion, that's not so bad. I've got the green protecting there. He's promoted the green up. That's what I like. I'm going to go the other side now. OK, because there's a big angle there. So a lot of the top professionals, when we finish playing, we'll have a game with this for a bit of fun. Yeah. You know, you're really under pressure now, Joe. I've got you so bang under it. So it's your choice now. You can go 2 cushions, 3 cushions, 4 cushions. Off 2 cushions, you've got to fire. Your choice. He's going up and down. This has got a bit more pace on it. If it's hard enough, get going.
Come on.
It needs a bit more on it. Well, I'm in a good position here. I mean, I might get a bit flamboyant. I think I might just go, no, I'm still going to say wait. Solid as a rock.
No pressure at all, though.
Side cushion, top cushion. That's just protecting that red at the back. So this is how you can judge the angles. The more you play this game, the more you can actually sort of work out where you are around the table. He's fired, and he's missed. OK, that gives me... Well, now I'm in heaven at the moment. Although you've got the last bowl.
There's one ball left, there's one ball.
OK, that doesn't matter. You don't get anything for going in the pocket there. Here it goes. Side cushion, top cushion, in, that's 3, and now you're really under it. It's your choice, Joe, whatever you like.
The pressure shot.
The money's on here. He's firing, he's going to take a run, he's running up from the Crucible, it goes up and down the table, this is... It's not good enough. OK, never mind, that's 3 to me. And that's how we sometimes play the game, just to judge the angles.
Like it, Steve, thanks very much. Hardlines, Joel, very good effort. Right, and we've had a lot of tweets and emails on the subject of Judd Trump. He really has captured your imagination in this championship, and no wonder, particularly with his power shots. Absolutely flamboyant stuff from him, creating all kinds of spin on the cue ball. And to that end, we've conducted an experiment just to show you the kind of forces that the players are imparting on the cue ball, players like Judd. And this has been a really interesting experiment here, John. What exactly does it show us?
Well, it just shows you not only how much it spins, but how long the spin stays on the ball. I mean, that's already contacted 2 cushions. That's the 3rd one. And look at it, still spinning already. You can see by the red, that's just slowing down now. But it's amazing how much spin is on the ball and how long it stays on.
Particularly when you think the ball is coming to rest, it's still going. In fact, at some point, it actually speeds up here.
Yeah, well, that's on. Obviously, got the running side on it because that's going to the cue ball's going to the right, so that's running side. You put bottom right on that, widens the angle, and look at the way it keeps spinning all the time. Those dots are still going. Amazing. Even just pulling up, it's still going that much.
Is Judd, for example, hitting the ball any harder than other players in the game right now?
He does hit the ball quite firm, which is you will get that. I mean, he wouldn't hit the ball. Mark Williams would hit the ball a lot softer than he does. So obviously he hits a bit firmer, you can also impart a little bit more on it. But you'd also, if you do that, you have to be more accurate.
Why does he prefer some of the showy shots? I mean, sometimes we've seen almost banana swerve shots from him.
Because he's 21, Hazel. And there's nothing like playing a few exhibition shots and knocking them in. And listen, he's not just playing them and missing them, he's playing them and knocking them in. That's the difference.
Exactly. But I wonder how he would cope this morning, because when we came on air at 12:30, you might, I stress might, have been doing other things, maybe watching other channels at the time. We won't take offence, it's okay. But we started by reflecting on the morning session between...